Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a technology that could literally change what it means to be human. Neuralink's brain-computer interface. So, Elon Musk's Neuralink, they're aiming for mass production by 2026. That's right around the corner. So we're going to look at the incredible engineering behind it and ask the really big question here. Is this a miracle cure for everything from paralysis to depression? Or are we about to open a Pandora's box of some really serious dangers? All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First up, we'll get into the mind-bending science of how this whole thing even works. Then, we'll look at their progress, from monkeys playing video games to the very first human trials. We'll also check out their super ambitious plans for the future. And finally, we're going to tackle that huge ethical debate. Is this a treatment or is it a threat? Okay, so how in the world do you even start to connect a machine to, well, the most complex thing in the known universe, the human brain? I mean, we're talking about 86 billion neurons, trillions of connections. It sounds impossible, right? Well, Neuralink has a plan. It's really a two-step dance between biology and code. First, the implant has these crazy thin threads that basically listen in on the electrical chatter between your brain cells. These little bursts are called spikes, and they're literally the language of your brain. Then, step two, a really sophisticated algorithm decodes that language. It learns that, say, one pattern of spikes means move the cursor right, and another pattern means click. It's kind of like learning a new language, except the language is your own thoughts. And the implant itself, the N1, it's a marvel of miniaturization. Get this, it's smaller than a coin, but it's got a powerful chip, a 10-hour battery that you charge wirelessly, and 128 of those threads that are way thinner than a human hair. These incredibly fine, flexible threads are really the secret sauce, letting the device listen in on your brain's conversation without causing a lot of disruption. Look, you're not going to have a revolution if only a few elite surgeons in the world can do the procedure. And that's where this surgical robot comes in. It's designed to insert those delicate threads with a precision that a human hand just can't match. And it can do it in under an hour. This is the key. This is what makes the whole thing scalable and accessible to millions of people down the line. So you've got this amazing, scalable robot to do the surgery. But all that incredible engineering is really only half the story. The real question is, does it actually work? Let's get into the results and see how this all developed, from the early tests to the first people getting these implants. The speed of innovation here is just staggering. I mean, in just a few short years, Neuralink went from this wild idea to a company that's actually putting chips in human brains. It all started in 2016, but the first really big wow moment was in 2021 with a monkey named Pager, who played the video game Pong with his mind. And now, in 2024, the tech is being tested in humans with the goal of helping people with paralysis get some control back in their lives. That monkey experiment was a huge moment. So what they did was they started by letting Pager play Pong with a regular joystick, and they'd reward him with a banana smoothie. Classic. As he was playing, the Neuralink implant was recording his brain activity patterns. Then, they did something incredible. They just unplugged the joystick. Pager kept playing, moving his hand like he was still using the controller, but it was his thoughts, decoded by the implant, that were actually controlling the game. He was literally playing with his mind. Yeah, this is not a science experiment anymore. Neuralink is seriously gearing up to make this technology a part of our world, and believe me, they are moving fast. And the demand for this is already pretty overwhelming. Over 10,000 people have already signed up. They're on the wait list for a chance to get a Neuralink implant. That just speaks volumes about the hope that people are putting into this tech, hoping it can heal them or, enhance their lives. Now, this is where the real power of Neuralink lies. It's in the network. It's just like how Tesla's cars learn from every single mile driven. Every Neuralink user is going to contribute to this massive database of neural data. And that will let the system learn and improve at an exponential rate, getting more precise, more capable with every new person who joins. It's a collective intelligence, a neural network made of actual human minds. And that brings us right to the heart of the matter. For all of its incredible promise, Neuralink forces us to ask some of the most profound ethical questions of our time. Are we on the verge of a new golden age, or are we about to unleash something that we just can't control? The promise, you have to admit, is undeniable. I mean, a future where paralysis is a thing of the past, where we could treat horrible neurological disorders like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's with a simple implant. But the perils, they are just as real. What happens when this isn't just used to heal, but to enhance? Are we going to see a new kind of inequality, a world split between the chipped and the unchipped? And what about privacy? Who owns the data coming out of your own brain? These are not easy questions, and there are no easy answers. And let's not forget the practical stuff, right? This is still a piece of hardware, and hardware can fail. What happens when the battery dies or the chip just malfunctions? You're looking at another brain surgery. And then there's the ultimate nightmare scenario. What if somebody hacks your brain? Just the thought of that is pretty chilling. So after looking at the science, the incredible progress, and all the profound questions it raises, it really all comes down to a personal choice.
So, the ultimate question is this. Would you get a chip implanted in your brain? Would you trade your most private data for the chance to heal or to enhance, maybe to become something more than human? This is no longer a question for science fiction. It's a real question for all of us, and we probably need to start thinking about the answer sooner rather than later.